Hello children, welcome to the online session of Sri Gokulam Public School Guruvayur. Children, we were discussing chapter 7 directing. Today's our discussion is on the topic barriers to effective communication. In our last class we saw different types of communication, that is formal communication and informal communication. There are many barriers to effective communication. They are classified into three different categories, that is semantic barriers, psychological barriers, personal barriers, and organizational barriers. Let us have a close look on each of these barriers. The first one is semantic barriers. Problems in encoding and decoding of message is related to semantic barriers. So first one under this type is badly expressed message. So sometimes intended meaning may not be conveyed because of use of wrong words, omission of needed words, inadequate vocabulary. These are the different examples of badly expressed message. So the situation in which these forms are not there, so the communication, there may be a misunderstanding. Okay, complete meaning cannot be conveyed if there is wrong words or omission of some needed words in those sentences. So such words are badly expressed message, and these are one form of semantic barrier. The other one is symbols with different meanings. A word may have several meanings. For example, consider these three sentences where the word value is used. So there are three different sentences in which the value word is having different meanings. Just check out here. What is the value of this ring? I value your friendship. What is the value of learning computer skills? So in all these three sentences, the value word are giving you a different meanings. So wrong perception by the receiver leads to communication problems. So in what instant you are using that word, it have to be taken up by the receiver in right perspectives. Otherwise, it may lead to communication problem. The next one is technical jargon. Specialist uses technical language or jargon while explaining to the workers. For example, tariff, quotas, etc. Therefore, they may not understand the actual meaning of such words. So sometimes the specialists, they use a technical language while explaining something to the workers. And workers, they are not aware of these technical languages. So in this situation, communication gap may arise. Unclarified assumptions. They create confusion and the loss of goodwill. For example, instructions of a boss to his subordinate. Okay, so sometimes there are some sentences which is not clarified properly, and sometimes a wrong assumption is made on that sentences. For example, if a boss is instructing a subordinate, take care of our foreigner guest or foreign guest. So boss is instructing subordinate to take care of the foreign guest. May mean care of transport, accommodation and food of the guest, but the subordinate may interpret the guest should be taken to the hotel with care. So there are two interpretations which is made. That is, the boss actually want the subordinate to take care of his foreign guest. That means taking care of his transport, accommodation as well as food. But here the subordinate interpret that guest should be taken to the hotel with care. So with that his duty will get over. That is what the subordinate interpret. So that confusion may sometimes create loss of goodwill also. So unclarified assumption is a part of semantic barriers. Next one is body language and gestures decoding. Every movement of body communicates some meaning. If there is no match between what is said and what is expressed in body movements, communication may be wrongly perceived. So whenever we talk, our through our body movements also we communicate something. So if there is mismatch between our gestures or body language and what we talk, it will give a wrong perceptions. So these are the parts, or this type of barriers comes under semantic barriers. These are the different types of barriers which is coming under the semantic barriers. Now we are moving to the second part of barriers, that is psychological barriers. These barriers are arises due to the state of mind of sender and receiver. Okay, so first one is lack of attention. Many people do not listen attentively, which makes communication ineffective. For example, boss does not listen to the problem since he is preoccupied with an important file. So because boss is doing some important work, he is not listening to his subordinate. What his subordinate is communicating, he is unattentive to that. So that the lack of attention is one such communication problem which comes under psychological barrier. Next one is distrust. If sender and receiver of the communication do not trust each other, they cannot understand each other's message. So if the sender and receiver they don't trust each other, in that case also the message will not be understood in the correct meaning. So this form a part of psychological barrier. Then premature evaluation. Sometimes people form a judgment before listening. It leads to misunderstanding. So many people are around us who make, before the message are completed, they make some judgment on that sentences or that message. So that type of evaluation, premature evaluation, may also create misunderstanding. So that is a part of psychological barrier. Now status. A status conscious manager, a manager who is very conscious about his status, may not allow his subordinate to express their feeling freely. So he is not allowing his subordinates to express or communicate to him freely. That status is somewhat related to psychological barriers. So in these four cases, the barrier or the communication will not take place smoothly because it is creating psychological barriers. Now the third category of barriers is the personal barrier. Personal factors of sender and receivers are reason for personal barriers. First one is fear of that is challenge to authority. If a superior thinks that a particular communication may adversely affect his authority, he may withhold such communication. So sometimes it happens that authority will not communicate to his subordinate thinking that it is a challenge to his authority. A fear of that challenge, he remains silent. He does not communicate, or he withhold his communication. So fear of challenge to authority is one such reason that creates barrier in communication. Next one is lack of confidence of superior on his subordinates. So if superior is not confident enough about his subordinates' work, then he will not, in that case, may not seek their advice or opinion, because superior is he does not have any confidence on subordinates, so subordinates' advice or opinion will not be taken into consideration by the superior. So that is one type of personal barrier. The next one is unwillingness to communicate. Unwillingness to communicate by the subordinate because of fear of punishment or demotion. So subordinates sometimes fear of punishment may remain silent and may not communicate the problems or his some messages to his subordinate. By the fear of punishment, he remains silent. So unwillingness to communicate by the subordinates due to the fear is one sort of personal barrier. Next comes the lack of incentives. If there is no reward or appreciation for a good suggestion, the subordinate will not offer useful suggestions in future because there is no incentives for communication. So a proper motivation or appreciation or reward has to be given for a good suggestion. So then only the communication, then only the suggestions will come up from the subordinates, so that the working for the in matters related to working condition, reducing the cost of production. So in those matters, if subordinates are coming up with good suggestions, then that can be accepted by the superior or top management, as it is reducing the cost of production and it is good for the organization. But the case is, the subordinates will not communicate if they are not rewarded or appreciated for giving the good suggestions. So lack of incentives or motivation is also one reason, personal barrier for in way of communication. The fourth category of barrier to communication is organizational barrier. Under here also there are 4 different types, that is rules and regulations. We know that organization is a formal organization, a formal structure of organization in which is built up with rules and regulations. So rigid rules and regulations are barrier to effective communication. We know that in formal structure of communication, everything moves in scalar chain. So there is a prescribed path for communication. We cannot move out of the prescribed path for communicating the matters in the formal organization. So that rigid rules and regulations sometimes may act as a barrier to effective communications. Next one is complexity or in organization structure. When communication passes through various levels of management, it gets delayed and distorted. So if the organization is too complex and organization structure is lengthiest one, then it may happen that the communication, as it passes through different levels of management, it get delayed. Okay, passing of communication and getting a feedback may become a delayed process, and many of the messages will get distorted or missed off in the way. Next is lack of organizational facilities. Lack of organizational facilities like suggestion box, complaint box, etc. will not encourage free flow of communication. So if these things, suggestion box and complaint box, are must in any organization, because through that the employees can communicate regarding the matters while working in a organization structure. If there is any suggestion or complaint box there, it can encourage a free flow of communication within the organization. So lack of this facility may act as a barrier, organizational barriers. Again, here the status, which is organizational barriers, we already saw that same thing. A status conscious manager may not allow his subordinates to express their feelings freely. So that forms an organizational barriers too. So these are the 4 organizational barriers. Now, how to overcome these communication barriers and improve the communication effectively? Here are some of the measures to improve communication effectively. Clarify the ideas before communication. The problems to be communicated to subordinate should be clear to the manager himself in all its perspective. So what is to be communicated to subordinate? For that, the manager should have himself an idea. So there will be no communication problem, communication gap. So there should be a clarity in idea before communication. The next point is communication according to the needs of receiver. So manager should adjust his or her communication according to the education and understanding level of subordinates, avoiding the technical jargon. So as we told, as we were discussing, that the employees, we have to communicate according to the education and understanding level of the subordinates. So manager should note down that, and according to the needs of the receiver, he should communicate. Third point, be aware of language, tone and content of message. The language used should be understandable and should not offend the sentiments of the listeners. So in a formal system of organization, we have to be very aware about the language, tone and content of the message. We should while talking to the other person, we should take care that we are not hurting their sentiments. Next one is, be a good listener. Manager should be a good listener. Patient and attentive listening solves half of the problem. So a good manager, he should be a good listener. He should listen to his subordinates very patiently and attentively, so that half of the problem or communication gap can be cleared by being a good listener. Next one is, ensure proper feedback. Communication is complete only when the sender gets a feedback. The receiver of the communication must be encouraged to respond to communication by asking questions regarding the message conveyed. So it is a very good way to know whether the sender's message have been properly understood by the receiver. Getting a feedback is a very good option. Next one is, communication for present as well as future. Generally, communication is needed to meet the existing commitments. However, to maintain consistency, the communication should aim at future goals of the enterprise also. So while communicating something, we have to take care that we are communicating an important matters that is equally important in satisfying the future goals. So whatever communication is taking place, it is not only satisfying the existing commitments but also satisfying the future goal of the enterprise. So these are the 6 measures to improve the communication effectively. Now children, we are about to conclude today's class. Today we saw the barriers to effective communication. We discussed about the 4 different types of barriers, that is semantic barriers, psychological barriers, personal barriers and organizational barriers. We also saw the measures to improve these communication barriers. Now you have to read the textbook covering these points and do attend the test paper related to this topic. Read the question before answering this question. Meet you in the next class with a new chapter. Till then, goodbye.